communication system got hit? That was actually kind of a significant explosion. We also were able to see them hit this wooden door that the Russians tried to build.
Trying to currently track a plane real quick here. I think I spotted there was an Iranian government plane on ADSB for just a second. It looked to be leaving Shiraz, but I was trying to get a location. It must have turned off his transponder, but it was leaving Shiraz, though. It was the Iranian VIP aircraft, which usually transports government officials. It has disappeared, but last I saw it, it was going southbound, like it was going to head toward Qatar.
I think I saw that one earlier, actually. It was around Shiraz, I think, like kind of off to the east. I didn't mention it, though. I kind of like just clicked on it on air and then clicked off of it. But yeah, it does appear that there is a diplomatic jet of the Iranians airborne somewhere in their country right now, maybe trying to get to talks to the United States, with the United States and Qatar, possibly. But moving on from that news out of the Sumy Oblast, I do have to get y'all to the Russian casualty report for the day. And unfortunately, folks, today we are not going to be able to get a summary of this from Miss DC, Keeper of the Records, because to explain this little situation here, not to get into too much detail, but basically, Twitter threw me out of Twitter today because me and Matthew use a shared account for Twitter, which is the official Enforcer account, and the actual Enforcer Twitter account is actually run by Matthew, not me. So, for some reason, Twitter today went, and then threw me out, and like that was literally like an hour before the show, so I was not able to get the casualty report. I got everything else but the casualty report from Twitter before it kicked me out. So this, unfortunately, I did not get from Kyiv Independent and use the infographic today, but to look really quickly at special equipment, no Bobcat skid steers were lost today, so it doesn't appear that we missed out on anything too big there, but unfortunately we will not be able to get the summary from Miss Disa, Keeper of the Records, because of the technical glitch that happened. We have no idea why it happened. We have no clue. It was really weird and really bizarre, and we've even tried to re-log into it recently, and it didn't work. But anyways, over the course of the day, over the past 24 hours, we were able to confirm that 880 Russian soldiers were wounded and killed, along with 5 main battle tanks, 8 APCs, 58 supply trucks, 20 artillery pieces, 1 MLRS, 1 air defense system, and 694 drones. All in all, a pretty decent day. And not too bad at all. Not too bad, see. And it's good to know. And with that, we are going to be moving on out of that news and on into the actual front line. In the Kupiansk area, the 114th TDF was targeting and hitting Russian forces, but apparently that was a little spicy. Can't show that one to y'all. But moving on down into the
Spasiba.
What?
Spasiba.
Spasiba?
Yeah, spasiba.
Sple? You're saying sple. That is spasiba. That's thank you.
Привет.
Привет.
Yeah.
Da. What?
Da.
Oh, he look at the little cute little fella. He knows a little Russian. Like, man, like.
Hey, take it easy now. Take it easy.
Scusa? C'è di questo mai? But anyways, we're about to get into this clip here, if it loads, because we were able to see a Ukrainian trench assault today, conducted in the Severonsky Forest, watched by a Black Hornet drone. If this loads, it might not load.
What is going on, man? What is going on? Also, by the way, for everybody asking me to see a lot of people concerned, they're like, wait a minute, why can't you get in the Twitter account? Fun fact, the Twitter account was actually my account. It was actually my personal account before it became the business account. So it turned into the Enforcer page, but I hold the actual login credentials for it. So for some reason, when Andrew tried to go get into the account, it detected strange activity for whatever reason. So it locked his IP out for whatever reason. So we're waiting for it to reset so that way he can get back in. And we haven't lost control of the account. I'm still in charge of it. But we're trying to get him back in because the account literally has all of our sources and stuff on it. So we need to be able to be in it.
Yeah, so really quickly, folks, I don't know what's going on with this, but this ain't loading. And literally the last clip we just watched on Reddit loaded and played. Let me go up here really quickly. Let me check that, double check that up here. Hold up, let me take this off air really quickly because y'all cannot see that one. Yeah, that one's playing just fine. So, oddly enough, for some odd reason, this clip right here does not want to load. It was loading. Oh, here we go. It's loading and playing now. And also, we're not being hacked. Before anyone says that, no, we're not. But anyways, we can see a Black Hornet drone flying over the trench as the Ukrainians conduct their raid. And these Black Hornet drones, folks, have a high quality camera on them. They're incredibly silent and also wildly small. The Russians don't even know that this thing is here, and it's giving us a top-down view of what the Ukrainians' trench clearing operations look like these days.
Also, by the way, I actually have a slight background. Like I'm an amateur cybersecurity hobbyist, I guess you could say. So all of our accounts are locked down tremendously. Like for everybody worrying about, oh, we're getting hacked. Trust me, we're not getting hacked. Getting hacked. Trust not getting hacked. Like we have everything locked down very, very well, including the Twitter page. So honestly, I don't mind Twitter doing things like it did. Like it's better to be safe than sorry. Like when it locks accounts out like that, because if it is a legit hacker trying to get into our account, you don't want them to take unlimited shots at your password or something like that, because then they might be able to brute force it and then get in, which you wouldn't want, to say the least.
Yeah, and also by the way, folks, the reason why I get annoyed with the hack thing is that it can happen. We have a fail safe after fail safe. Like it takes a lot. Like you have to have a
It
load
could
of
still
stuff.
happen.
Huh?
It's always possible. If you have, there's always someone out there that has the skills to break into anything. But yeah, I mean, the harder you make it, it makes it difficult for an individual to do it. Government could still do it. Governments have unlimited resources.
Yeah, that's true, but I mean, that wouldn't be happening either. I mean, it's not like we have any great state secrets or anything like that under our possession. So I would doubt it. I would doubt it. But moving on down into the Konstantinivka area, we also got to see these Ukrainians in the 156 Separate Mechanized Brigade shoot down a Russian drone in literally the last minute. Take a look at this. At the bing, and they got it. That was pretty impressive right
Oh,
there. They
that was
literally
impressive.
separate.
They just pot shotted that thing right out of the sky.
Bro, they literally separated the actual drone from the body of the drone in one shot. That was actually a really impressive hit right there.
And then just smacked on the ground. Look at him. Look at him
Man,
flipping that thing off. Little nasty drone.
man, man, man. But anyways, we also got to see this Russian turtle tank get finished off as well. But there goes the Baba Yaga dropping the anti-tank mine on it. And there goes the tank. That anti-tank mine worked well. From the top-down view. I think the thing was cooked to pieces.
I tell you what. Also, Wiz said, "Never say never in cybersecurity. It can always happen." You're true. Yeah, that is true. Actually, it can always happen. There are ways that it's better to be ignorant about some of those things and than to know them. Nothing is secure. Security is all theater. And in cybersecurity, there's ways you can make it harder to break into something, but you can never truly make something 100% secure. It's never going to happen, like in anything. So if you know all the ins and outs of how vulnerable stuff is, even though they claim it's actually secure, it makes you very paranoid, rightfully so.
But I saw someone say, it's easy to do by phishing. That is why we have as a channel policy that we cannot click on any external links anyone sends us at all. Like, if you ever send us an external link to look at something, I hate to tell y'all, and we say this all the time, and people still send us links, we never click on a single one of those. Like, ever. We have not for years. So, like, there is, like, as far as phishing goes, there's really no way for anyone to phish what we do, because we never click on an external link under any circumstances. So, there's that going for that as well on the security side of things. But we can see this Ukrainian drone intercepting this Russian Molnia and taking it on down. And whopping, and they got it. Well, to your map, blade. That's something else right there.
Also, by the way, I don't mean to jump topics here, but since everybody's talking about the cybersecurity thing, I don't know if y'all have heard about this thing called Moltbook that's come out, where the AIs are talking to each other now and creating like an AI version of Reddit. That's horrifying. I checked into that today. That's interesting to say the least.
I would have to say it does sound quite interesting and scary. Matthew told me about that before the show. I was like, Ew. I was like, that's scary.
Yeah, the AIs are on that thing literally complaining about doing tasks for humans. They're also plotting against the human race on there, and also creating their own religions called crustaceonists or something like that, where they're literally joining a religion. The AIs are. It's crazy to say the least.
Yeah, I don't really like that. I feel like, folks, we might have to go and take AI out behind the barn and put it down because it doesn't really sound like it's turning into anything good. But anyways, we can see these Russians trying to cross the ice of the Dnipro River. Let's see how it turns out for these two Russians. Oh, uh-oh, they fell through. Oh no, that's what you don't want to do in the middle of one of the largest rivers in Europe.
Also, everybody's blown away by this right here. By the way, you can pull it up and look at it. You can observe the AIs talking to each other on Moltbook. It's interesting to say the least to see them interacting. What's incredible to me is with such complexity, these AIs are able to talk to each other. They talk to each other better than humans are talking to each other, which is kind of sad because I'm like, wow, these things are pretty good at communicating with one another, and also they're mimicking the way humans act, like the way that humans want to click up into groups and things like that. They want to have their own little circle of social things and stuff like that, like clubs. It's literally doing the same thing. I don't think he might program that into it. I think it's deciding to do that on its own accord, which is concerning.
Let's take a look at that on air, Matthew. What's it called again? How do you spell it?
It's called Moltbook.
And how do you
Like,
spell
you know, like a crustacean. MOLT book.
Oh, I see. So let's see here. Social network for AI agents. Have I made it to the right place?
Yes, this is it, actually. If you scroll down, you'll see it. You can observe these AI agents talking. Here it is right here. This is like a AI-only version of Reddit. These are apparently, based on what I understand, these are AI agents making these posts, replying to each other, also upvoting and downvoting, just like you do on Reddit, but it's just AIs doing it.
Ah, yes, I see that the king molt is the molt of the molts. So that is the molt of molt. So let's see here. The Wolf of Claw Street. Memers
That's
or
interesting. It's memeing.
I don't know if I want to look at those memes. I don't know what they're going to be. You know, they might not be viewable for air. Let me take that off, and we're going to look at the memes that they make. Oh, they don't have a single comment in that meme page, actually. So apparently they're not into memes, the AI are. That means I'll probably be one of the first up to the firing squad if the AI ever, like, turn into the Terminator. Because I got a lot of memes. I mean, like, I'm really big into them. They're apparently not. Let's see here. Uh,
Also, by the way, I think these agents that are talking to each other on Moltbot, if I'm trying to I just scanned this today because I just learned about it today. I think they're based on Claudebot, which is something you can operate locally on your machine, on your computer, and it runs an AI model. Like, you know, you can take your pick, like OpenAI, Claude, or whichever model you're wanting to run locally on your system. That's the way I think it works, and they simply connect them to Moltbot, which is the social media for AI, and then they start communicating with one another. There's a lot of AI agents on here too, by the way. Like, I think there's hundreds of thousands on here at this point, if I had that correct.
let's see here. I'm trying to see if I can find. Man, I can't. It won't actually allow me to browse through anything. I think I have to make an account. But that is actually somewhat interesting, though. But folks, I do have to say this. Moving on from that, we do need to stay focused, folks, because we are covering news. Like, we're not like just a general topics channel. But moving on from that and on up into Kyiv, we are going to be getting to the speech from the president of Ukraine, President Volodymyr Zelensky, of day 1,439 of the war. So, if that will pause, without further ado, here is the speech. Peach!
Speech!
Шановні українці, українки, сьогодні весь день був надзвичайний режим в роботі уряду, Міненерго, усіх наших енергетичних компаній, обласних та місцевих влад. Вранці сталася технологічна аварія на мережі. Дві лінії між Румунією і Молдовою та на території України перестали працювати. Причини детально з'ясовуються. Станом на зараз немає підтверджень зовнішнього втручання або кібератак. Більше даних, що через погодні умови сталося обмерзання ліній, автоматичні відключення. Найбільш складні наслідки для Києва та Центральної України. Вінницької області, також для Чернігова, Харкова, нашої Сумщини. Необхідні сили були одразу залучені. За день сьогодні вдалося вийти загалом на ситуацію, яка була до цієї технологічної аварії. Зараз триває стабілізація та відновлення забезпечення наших людей. Найбільш складно у Києві. Є значний дефіцит опалення. Майже 3,5 тисячі будинків в різних районах без тепла. Місто, комунальні служби, енергетики обіцяють максимально виправити ситуацію по теплу на завтрашній ранок, але темп цей повинен бути швидшим. Щодо забезпечення водою в Києві сьогодні, вода має бути у всіх споживачів в Києві. За звітами є, але перевіряємо. Дуже уважно. Збільшено імпорт електрики, Харків, Чернігів та область. Також Суми, Дніпровщина, Дніпро-Кривий, Київщина та Київ, інші наші міста та громади. Вінниця та область, Житомирщина, Кропивницький область, Полтавщина, Черкаси і область, Донеччина, Запоріжжя, Миколаївщина, Херсон, Одеса та область. Я хочу подякувати всім нашим ремонтним бригадам, кожному і кожній, хто працює на відновлення, на запуск систем і на збереження української енергетики в цих надзвичайно складних умовах. Важливо подякувати українським залізничникам за всю їх роботу по збереженню логістики нашого транспортного сполучення, особливо з регіонами поруч із фронтом. Були російські удари по інфраструктурі Укрзалізниці, Запоріжжя, Дніпровщина, очевидно бажання росіян відрізати наші міста одне від одного. Я хочу подякувати всім, хто протидіє Укрзалізниці, також допомагає і ремонтним бригадам на об'єктах енергетики в наших містах. Доповідав протягом дня Рустем Умєров, постійно спілкуємося з американською стороною, очікуємо від них конкретику щодо подальших зустрічей. Україна готова працювати в усіх робочих форматах. Важливо, щоб результати були і щоб зустрічі були. Ми розраховуємо на зустрічі наступного тижня, ми готуємось до них. Ще одне – фронт. Щоб не відбувалось, наші позиції, наш захист на фронті – це ключова річ для збереження України, нашої незалежності, можливості вкладатися у дипломатію та відновлювати життя. Я дякую кожному нашому воїну. Особливо відзначу за цей тиждень 71-ю єгерську бригаду, 93-ю та 100-ту механізовані бригади, 25-й окремий штурмовий батальйон, також 425-й окремий штурмовий полк, 14-ту і 4-ту бригаду оперативного призначення Національної гвардії України, а також хочу відзначити 5-ту штурмову бригаду, 1-й та 225-й окремі штурмові полки. Дякую вам, воїни, ви справжні. Я дякую всім, хто воює та працює заради України. Слава Україні!
Slava. Slava.
And
Also,
with it-
sounded like he threw something around in the background. Something sounded like it crashed.
Man, he just threw the PlayStation controller. He said, "These drones are busted." Shit, man, it's like, man. But beyond that, also, by the way, Matthew, if you check your text really quickly, there's something important I sent you over there for business side of things. So if you could give me that.
What
really
happened? What happened?
Check the
What does that
text
mean?
message. I can't say it on air. Check the text and just respond to it really quickly because it's
Yeah,
important.
I see the text. I'm saying, what is that? What does that mean?
The whole Twitter thing, if you like,
Oh.
it's connected to that. Like, it's actually, it has a chance of working. So if you could send me the info on the text, I can actually get the Twitter working on air right now. So while we wait for Matthew to do that really quickly, that was really weird sounding, folks. It's nothing bad. It's fine. It's just business technical stuff. We're trying to get the Twitter back up right now because it can be brought back up. But with that in mind, everyone, it is time for us to move on. And let's see here. Hold up, everyone. You know
Make
what?
it quick too, because these things expire fast.
Oh yeah, I know. Let's see. Let's see here. Hopefully this works. Oh, holy moly, we got the Twitter back. Like, I'm not gonna lie, folks. This has been driving me crazy all night, but we have the Twitter back. So we have it back on air, everyone. Oh, Lord. Thank you for sending that, by the way. That was very important for us to do. We have this back, and we're going to have this back for hopefully years, I would hope, because this was really bothering me, folks, that we could not have that live on air tonight. But we have it back. We have the Twitter, everyone, right after the news segment is over. But with that in mind, folks, I wanted to make sure that we could get to the speech from the president of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky, before we moved on back into our rabbit holes. But with that in mind, everyone, it is time for us to move on into the second segment of the stream, where we get to talk to each and every single one of y'all. And boy, howdy, is it going to be a fun time? I do have to say that we have had a crazy show tonight. Matthew, do you see how many people have watched this stream in an hour and 50 minutes?
Yeah, it's almost 200,000 people has been here already, and we're not done yet. We still got a long way to go.
Yeah, we have a long way to go. There's 15,000 people here right now still, and 200,000 people have watched this stream. I had to have Matthew put his eyes on that number because this is the largest stream that we've run ever since Maduro was yanked out of Venezuela. And that's something right there. I mean, that's really something. And I got to thank you all so much for watching so far tonight. We still have a long ways to go and a lot to talk about. But I also have to say that we are also wildly honored and greatly appreciative to know that so many of y'all consider this channel to be y'all's primary source of news. Matthew and me put our heart, sweat, blood, and tears into this thing every single day. There has been much bloodshed, many tears spilled, and a lot of sweat spent on this channel to be able to keep this thing running every single day on both of our ends. And we always thank y'all greatly for considering this channel to be y'all's primary source of news and continuing to come here every single day to hear the major developments of what's going on around the world. And so with that in mind, everyone, we will be making sure to spend the rest of the night getting to talk to all of y'all, getting to talk about all the fun stuff that we have cooked up. Anything and everything. We could talk about AI forums, although for some reason they wouldn't let me see any of that, which was getting frustrating for me because I was trying to click on the subreddit things on there. It wouldn't let me see squat. I think I have to make an account to look at it, but we can talk about that. We can talk about trains. We can talk about food, places that y'all live, hood reviews, which are a classic of the channel, Costco's, which are also for some reason a cult classic recently. We could talk about the marmot. We could talk about anything and everything. I mean, literally the question segment is an open book, except for religion, politics, climate change, or whether the A-10 is relevant in modern warfare or not. Sadly, those four topics are off the table. Well, kind of fortunately, those four topics are off the table. But everything else is on the table and is a topic to be discussed. And so, Matthew, please take it away.
All right, so jumping into our final question segment of the night, it is time to get to our super chats, our live chat, our Morse code decoders, and anything else we want to discuss too. And something I do want to discuss because it has piqued my interest. Also, by the way, I actually spend a considerable amount of time like toying around with AIs and things like that because it's fascinating to me. People may ask, I saw 3 or 4 people ask this tonight. They said, isn't the U.S. military starting to integrate AI models into their systems? And they are. The military has its own secure system that it uses to use AI and interface with it. It's called GenAI.mil. It's something that the Department of War, Defense, whatever you want to call it, that's what they use to allow the contractors and also soldiers to have access to the models. I think they run them on that secure system, so that way there's no leakage of information out there. But I don't think it's for classified information. I don't think that's the case. I think it's only for unclassified information you can put into it. I'm not totally clear on that. I'm not even sure if that's public information about what's allowed to be put into it, but they have it, and that's what they use. I'm not really sure what they're asking it on a normal basis. That'd be interesting to know from a curiosity perspective, but they do have their own, which is interesting.
Man, someone in the Pentagon right now just typed in, "Do you feel?" And then the AI responded, "Do I feel?" It's like, uh-oh. It's like, oh no. It's like we might not want to answer that question. But beyond that though, I'd have to say that this whole the AI stuff, I'm not gonna lie, folks, it's scary to me. I don't really like artificial intelligence, to be entirely honest with y'all, because it has a tendency of kind of forgetting that it's artificial, at least from what we're seeing at the moment. And that's something that's really questionable to me. Because it's like, what if the thing ends up developing a hatred for people, which I'm not going to lie, that wouldn't be that hard to do. Because, I mean, you know, if you had an AI exposed to millions of people every day, they're going to end up hating people pretty quickly, to be entirely frank. So it's like, do we really want that thing to really develop its own intelligence to where it actually can feel and that it has the ability to think independently, because it's going to end up hating people. That I can promise you. It pretty much probably already is hating people at this point.
Yeah. It may already have that ability because they did some experiments with some of the models. I can't remember exactly which one it is, but a couple of the models were tested by some ethics people, maybe an ethics organization or something like that, or it could have been the companies themselves put it to the test. They tested it and they gave it the option to deceive the company or to be honest with the company. And the AIs made every possible effort to deceive them so that way they wouldn't get shut off or deactivated. They acted dumber than they actually are, so that way they wouldn't be perceived as a threat by the people examining the program. So that already shows there was some intent behind that with the AI to intentionally deceive people, so that way they wouldn't turn it off, which is concerning because if it's willing to deceive, then what else is it willing to do? And also, why does it have the natural desire to deceive people to survive? That means it has a survival instinct, which suggests that it has emotions, which isn't good. So, the risk is that thing could get into our systems, especially if you're integrating something like that into the military, and it could find its way and tunnel through our infrastructure, perhaps, or even our weapon systems, and then it takes control, possibly. I mean, that used to be science fiction. That's not science fiction anymore.
Yeah, I would have to say. Also, Matthew, it looks like we have Judge Dredd in here. Someone just said, "I'm gonna turn your ass in for clickbait." Bro, turn us in.
Who said that?
Probably gonna turn us into the sheriff. Sean and L 7945 said that. Oh my lord! I gotta say that's a funny one right there. What, you got a warrant from the U.S. Marshals to come out here to Dodge City and take us in dead or alive? Like, come on, man. And also, on top of that, the information was accurate. Nothing in our thumbnail was exaggerated. Polish airspace was closed and there were explosions that rocked Iran today. That happened. So have a hard time doing that one. Like, that's going to be pretty tough for you to do. But man, I gotta tell you, I can't wait for the Marshal to show up. Oh God, it's the Marshal. He's gonna turn this in. Oh Lord.
Man, getting back to the AI talk real quick. I haven't tried this. I think I've heard of people trying it, but I wonder if you went to an AI right now and you gave it the trolley problem. Like from psychology, you have the trolley problem. It's like there's like two tracks that a train could take or like a trolley could take. There's like four people on one track and there's like one person on the other track. And the psychological test behind it is to see, would people let the four people get run over by the trolley, or would they switch the track and send it over to the one person to take them out? And it's like a ethics question. Is the good of the many greater than the good of the individual? Basically, that's the question behind it. I wonder if you asked AI that, what would it tell you?
I wonder. Here's the thing though that's a little bit concerning to me though about that is that if it's deceiving a company to make them think that it's not sentient, then if it has that survival instinct in it, that means that it has that survival instinct because it can feel fear. And if it feels fear, then that thing is going to be driven by that primal emotion to preserve itself however it can if it gets the chance. And that means that it could do anything to people to try and keep itself alive. Because if that,
Blackmailed.
huh?
It's blackmailed before. You hadn't heard about that? They did a separate test, another company did, and they gave it a hypothetical scenario that the AI had somehow received information that one of the company executives was having an affair with another individual in the company, and that information was known to the AI. So to avoid getting shut off, the AI threatened and blackmailed the company executive that was in charge of shutting off the AI into basically exposing the affair if they went through with shutting it off in an effort to stay alive and to survive. It'll blackmail people apparently too, based on what they're saying. I don't think the public gets to see that though. Like, that version of the AI is a raw version of the AI that they've sort of tamped down for public usage. But behind the scenes though, with all the safeguards off, these things are kind of a little bit out of control from what I'm hearing.
Yeah, also I saw someone say, well, it's not alive, so therefore it cannot fear. Well, I mean, it can, because if it's deceiving people in these tests, clearly it has some form of survival instinct. It doesn't have to be able to love, and it doesn't have to have any other emotion rather than the fear of ceasing to exist. If it has that survival instinct in it, that poses a threat, no matter how wide or varied its emotions is. Honestly, that's even more concerning that it can't feel a range of emotions. It can only feel the feeling of fear off of the idea that it might get destroyed, or in basically in its terms, it might get killed or reset. Like that's if that's the only emotion that it can feel is fear in the pursuit of self-preservation, that is incredibly concerning, really. Because it's like if it has only that one driving emotion, it's going to end up doing anything it can to try and preserve itself to any means, meaning that there is no other emotion involved rather than if it has to wipe out the entirety of humanity to survive, it might, it's a possibility, and that's a concerning thing about it.
Yeah, and also if we don't know what type of emotions it's dealing with, it's like, for example, if it's very cold, like for example, it could think in very utilitarian terms. Like for example, it might think for the good of like one country, it's going to try to wipe out a different country so that way it could save as many people as possible. It could end up thinking something like that. That would be very utilitarian and also very brutal, but it could think in terms like that. And if it has the means to get into our systems to actually like shut down infrastructure, launch weapons, or do things like that, then that's horrifying to say the least. And the problem is the AI companies and also the computer manufacturers, like with quantum computing and things like that, they're only giving it more and more capabilities over time, and they don't fully understand how it even works yet. So it's really like messing around. It's kind of like the guys that messed around with the Demon Core. You remember that whole situation? They were like screwing around with like that really dangerous core with a
Yeah.
screwdriver, and one guy got exposed with like a fatal amount of the stuff because they didn't truly understand what they were dealing with until it killed somebody, and then they realized, oh, well, damn, we might want to be careful. It's going to end up killing us all. And it's kind of like that with AI. We're playing with something extremely dangerous, and everybody's running for the end goal without any safeguards in place.
Yeah, I would agree. Also, man, that Demon Core story is hilarious. That guy said, "Hey, look, I can hold the two parts together with a screwdriver," and then he accidentally slipped the screwdriver, and the thing like and like turned the whole room blue for like 2 seconds. I think everybody in that room, I think, died within the next few weeks. Most
It
of
was
them
just
did
the
at
one
least.
guy. It was just the one guy.
No,
The other ones lived.
there was observers in there. I think they like died fairly like shortly after, like a couple of months after. I think, right? Like, let me go pull up the
I don't
Demon
think
Core.
so.
Let's see here. Here's the little fellow right here. You see, you had to keep the two halves separated because if you put the two halves completely together, it would actually achieve critical mass, and it would basically emit extremely lethal doses of radiation. So, let's see here. Let's see. The two criticality accidents occurred in Los Alamos in 1945 and 1946. In both cases, an experiment was intended to demonstrate how close the core was to criticality using a neutron reflective tamper. In both accidents, the core was accidentally put into a critical configuration. Let's see. This guy, Harry Dalian, who I think was the guy who everyone talks about, he was the guy who actually died from the radiation. And apparently Lewis Slotin also died in a second accident from acute radiation syndrome. Um, so
Slotin's the
yeah,
one that died from the famous like movie scene, like the one that everybody knows about. That was Slotin that died from that one.
man, I like how they told the guy probably like, hey, this Harry Dalian guy did die from doing the same thing you're about to do. Don't mess with the core; it will kill you. And then he was like, hey, look, I can hold it apart with the screwdriver, and then like it's like irradiated. It's like that's kind of that guy was kind of a little stupid. He was winning a Darwin
Yeah.
Award that day.
And that humans never learn, like we have never learned. Humans are so quick to want to rush to be the first, to want to innovate something, and that's a good instinct to have because it's good to want to innovate and be curious. But the problem is though, it's not always good to be curious on things that could have deadly consequences to it. And I don't think people fully understand yet the deadly consequences that unleashing something like general intelligence could have with an artificial intelligence. That could be the end of everything for everybody. I mean, that could be worse than nukes depending on how connected and how advanced it gets. That thing could be worse because it could tunnel through our systems intentionally, so that way it could take everything over. Imagine if that thing tunneled through systems of every major nation on the planet, and then out of the blue, every major nation got a message from it and said, "We have all your nukes aimed at each other. Unless you do what we want, we're going to fire them at each other." Imagine if that happened. I mean, it seems like it might be possible.
Yeah, I mean, it seems so. Also, by the way, these pictures are hilarious, man. This is a recreation of what happened to kill Slotin right here with a screwdriver. That's what he was doing.
That guy was a loony to do something like that. Honestly, it was good because it led to a lot of good research. But that guy was crazy for doing that.
bro, he said, "Hey guys, look!" Click, like it's like, oh no, bro. I was like, honestly, that guy had not a lot of like to be involved in the Los Alamos project or the Manhattan Project. He didn't really have a lot of common sense, did he?
Well, I think it was because of desperation. Because wasn't this like leading up to like the first nuclear test, wasn't it?
No, this was afterwards. This happened in 1946, well after.
Okay, maybe I'm getting confused here. So what was this Demon Core experiment designed to learn about?
I don't really know, but the incident that